Welcome to the Pillow Fright Podcast. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Kay.
I'm Emma, and we're your three besties bringing you news, reviews, and all things horror. What was your first slasher that you guys ever saw?
I know one of mine, if not the first one, I know one of mine was either Friday the 13th 4 or 7 on Joe Bob. If it wasn't that, the one that wasn't Friday the 13th that I really distinctly remember was a little film that no one talks about, and I'm very surprised. Brad Pitt's first film, Cutting Class. I remember at Movie Merchants, the video rental store. I think the first time I saw it may have been in there because I would rent based on the cover. And I remember, I didn't know who Brad Pitt was when I was a kid. Like, I'm just whatever. And I remember renting it. And that movie had the first, in Thanksgiving in the trailer, the trampoline.
Yeah.
That movie had it first. Sorry, Lyra. No, not sorry, because I feel like he might have gotten inspiration from that maybe. But I think it was really cool. I don't know. Have you ever seen Cutting Class?
I don't think
Have you
so.
heard of it?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Because nobody talks about it. And if you haven't seen it, it's Cutting Class. It's Brad Pitt. It's Jill Schoelen. And it's Sabrina's principal on Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Did you know they dated, by the way?
Wait, what?
Jill Schoelen and Brad Pitt were
I thought you meant the principal.
No.
Sabrina. I was like,
no, that's her dad. I remember reading that they dated. And let's not forget Donovan Leitch, legend of singer Donovan, the spawn of Donovan, who I saw play Hedwig at the Roxy and Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and it was awesome.
Donovan did the Watching Me song, right?
Mm.
He's
He did. They call me Mellow Yellow.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Donovan, the guy with
Donovan.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But he wears the things on his head and he's okay. No. I'm on board with you.
They're a musical. I saw him play, not Donovan, but I saw Donovan Leitch play at a Catholic church too. with Mark McGrath and Sebastian Bach from Scare.
That
was a fun night.
Unpack.
I'd like to talk about it sometime. Now's not the time. But we'll talk about it.
What was yours? First slasher.
okay, so the first one I can remember is, okay, so I had to go get, some brain scans done, and I had to stay up for 24 hours. And I think I was elementary school, late elementary school. And because I had to stay up for 24 hours, my mother relented and let me go rent. I could pick one movie that I wanted to watch. So I would stay up for these 24 hours. And I picked Urban Legends. So that was my very first one.
Legend.
No, Urban
the first
Legend.
One?
The first one. The very first one. Yeah. Not Final Cut. And not Bloody Mary.
I like Final Cut a lot.
No, I like Final Cut. But that wasn't the one. The one was with Rebecca Gayheart and Jared Leto and Michael Rosenbaum, one of my favorite actors, actually, because he voiced the Flash on Justice League. And I'm a nerd. And I have a signed autograph from him.
This has got to be a nightmare.
Except for the dog in the microwave scene, which was well, I guess I'm definitely staying up because I think that was one of the first animal murder things I'd ever seen in a horror movie either. And I was like,
it's never enjoyable.
No, that was a lot. And I felt really bad for Michael Rosenbaum and his dog.
I can't even think about it. Ooh.
I can see it in my brain while we're talking about it. But that was another one of those movies where if you're in a WB movie or a WB TV show, you got to be in that movie because it also had from Dawson's Creek.
Pacey.
Yeah. And I think it had a pretty good, it had a good cast looking back. It had a fun.
Danielle Harris, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, she was the roommate.
Yeah, the goth girl.
Yep. Who and all of them, I love that I'd heard of all of them. I heard the dog licking under the bed, but they did it in a different way. They did it with don't turn on the lights or whatever. And then the campus security guard who instead of being a bumbling cop, it was the campus security guard. Yeah, she was great.
I love Loretta Devine.
I think my favorite though is definitely the opening kill with the car.
Oh yeah.
because that messed
Brad
me
Dourif.
up. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was Brad Dourif.
It was. It's a scary opening.
God.
Oh, you did.
I just put that freaking together. That's Chucky.
You have to watch it now. You have to rewatch it.
I'm gonna rewatch it. I own it.
Yep.
I own it on physical media because I don't trust them companies. But I really, really love that. I check the backseat of my cars, but I will say that movie also had one of those kills that like sticks with you forever. Yeah. Is the and it's not just because of my effed up foot right now. It's the dean in the parking garage with the Achilles heel swipe from under the car.
Yes.
And I would look under cars forever because I was so freaked out by that. But to this day, and like if you're ever in a car with me after like Midsummer Scream, I get really paranoid about driving over the tire things because of what happened to him. Yep. Like, I know it's like I'm in a car or whatever, but something about those tire things like really freak me out. I think about that
too because of that. That's so funny.
That's like Final Destination lumber truck level with me is the kills in that movie.
Oh my gosh.
I love that. I am going to rewatch that movie. I love that movie.
You should.
I will watch it, not just for the Flash.
What was yours? Are you still thinking?
I believe it was... Which is a Friday the 13th with the psychic girl?
7.
Yeah, so...
I love 7.
It was like a New Year's Eve, and I was really little. I was like 6.
Yeah.
And it was like a New Year's Eve party that my parents were at, and like all the kids were like relegated to some like room downstairs, and one of the older kids put on that movie. And I remember it was like the second horror movie I had ever seen in my life. And
really?
Yeah. And it scared me, but it's like the nostalgia of that one for me is like always like that's always going to be my favorite because it was my first.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. There are people who hate it, but that's one of my favorites because it was one of my first too.
But isn't that also the first Kane Hodder one? Or
it's the first Kane Hodder. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's pretty badass.
So good in that.
Yeah, I like the movie.
It's good.
10 out of 10.
Carrie versus Jason. What's not to love?
Right?
Besides the slashers of our past, what are the slashers of our present? A Shudder release.
It makes you think about why you love horror movies a little bit.
The experience watching it was really cool.
In a Violent Nature.
When a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods that entombs the rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime, his body is resurrected and becomes hell-bent on retrieving it. The undead golem hones in on the group of vacationing teens responsible for the theft and proceeds to methodically slaughter them one by one in his mission to get it back, along with anyone in his way.
Well, I think, like, as far as the killer POV part of it, normally in a horror movie, we're following the final girl and her friends. Even if we don't know who the final girl is, we're following their story. We're following what they're doing and why this is happening to them and what's going on that leads them to this. And it's all about the final girl. But for this movie, it wasn't about the final girl because at first I actually picked the wrong final girl. I will say. Yeah, I did not make the right choice for who I thought was going to be the final girl. But you're following him. He's the lead. Yeah. And I don't think in a lot of movies, maybe in a lot of movies, the killer's the lead because we've grown to love them like Freddy or Jason. But I think that from the get-go, Johnny is the lead. The killer is the star.
And that's what I really appreciate about this movie because it really, however you look at it, it really is an innovative way and why we're doing the most too, because you don't really see that point of view. And I think a lot of times, a lot of us wonder who whether you love slashers or not, you always wonder what goes on when the slasher is just like on his way. Like, does he go to the bathroom? Like, how does he eat? What does he do on his downtime? And I feel like a lot of people might think that's boring, but I feel like, yeah, he's walking, he's boring. I get it. I totally get how people think that's boring. I thought that was awesome because he stops at nothing. mission. He has a mission. He's going on it. And I love seeing, I thought it was like the other side of the waterfall.